One.
Good evening. Today is Monday, September 15th, and this is the Operations Committee meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and call it to order. I'm going to go ahead. The second item on the agenda is acceptance of minutes from June 9th. Wow, has it really been 3 months? June 9th, 2025. So I'm going to go ahead and take consent. All those in favor of accepting the mayor of the minutes of that meeting, say aye.
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 Aye. Are there any opposed or any abstentions? Moving on to the next item, we have the public comment section. Do we have anyone here for public comment?
No.
Okay. I do have something that I need to read into record. I'm being asked by another board member to read this into record. So let me just get my statement up. This is from Caroline Reynes, who could not be here, and she asked me to read this into the record. I'm unable to attend this evening's operations meeting, so I'm submitting this brief statement and a few questions to be read into the record. In the spirit of transparency to the public, a board member had asked for a sheet and track to be placed on the agenda and a report to be presented to the board via an actual paper handout. At our last full board meeting, we were assured that the information would be presented at our next operations meeting. I know that the public, my constituents, and students have all been eagerly awaiting this information. Unfortunately, this item does not appear on the agenda this evening. Although in oversight, there was also not an appropriate amount of time between the releasing of the agenda and this evening's meeting to correct this. In communicating my dismay in an attempt to correct the agenda, but with no time to allow for such an occurrence, Superintendent Belluzzi acknowledged that she knows that the public is watching this issue carefully. Operations Chairwoman Regan is also aware of the matter and will ensure questions are asked during the administrative update. I thank them for their acknowledgments and responses to my concerns about this. My apologies to those who have contacted me that the item was not carried over. My apologies to the board member whose item does not appear. My questions from my constituents are, one, has risk management worked with the town and BOE in regard to this? And if so, when and what can be shared? And second question, from a quality control standpoint, my constituents are seeking an accountability timeline. This would include information such as when was the first track issue reported and when was the company that installed the track contacted? A main concern is that WPS did not maintain areas in the wetlands. Is there any concern of maintenance neglect on WPS and impacting reimbursements? Thank you for reading this and hope everyone has a good evening. Caroline Reynes. Mr. Votto, I will say just before I get to you that I'm not going to address any of these questions right now, that these questions we will address during the administrative update, which is what she was told would happen. So, all right, Mr. Votto, do you have a statement or a question?
Did you get those questions before tonight?
No, I did not. I just got these 30 minutes ago. Yep, Mr. Votto, you're frozen.
Okay, so at this point, then we're going to just wait until when?
I'm just going to ask for an update during the administrative. I'll ask during an administrative update, which is when we usually ask those questions.
So when Mr. Deptula provides his report at the end during his agenda item, when we do the maintenance of facilities update, then we can provide an update on the track.
Which is how we've been doing things in the past anyway. So I read it into record so we can just move on to the next item. So the next item on the agenda is discussion on public consensus of our reports. So we're going to start with our financial report. Mr. Barone.
Thank you. Good evening. So our final results for the 24-25 fiscal year, we have a surplus of approximately $226,000. This represents 0.19% of our $118 million budget. Prior to the end of the year, the BOE voted to move up to 2% of the budget surplus into the 2% fund, which would have been.
Mr. Barone, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Did you want to share your screen?
Sorry.
Present it? That's okay.
All right. Sorry. I can fight with my mouse here. I got too many screens. It doesn't know. I'm raising my hand instead of sharing with the screen. That's not helpful. Share with the screen. Can everybody see that? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
All right. So I'm just going to scroll it a little bit so you can see. So we have and I'm going to scroll it because we're in June. Well, we're at the end of June. So, getting back to, we had voted to move the surplus into 2% if it was, 2% or less. 2% of our budget would actually be $2.36 million. Our surplus is not that large, so we can't move that much in. What I like to suggest is we wait until the auditors have done their final field work, and they're scheduled, I believe, the middle of October to come out. And after that's done, we can confirm there are no audit adjustments, and then we can allocate the amount into the 2% fund for specific projects, items, etc. That's what I have right now on we call it a projection, but I guess we think it's our final results now. Are there any questions? Okay. I'm not seeing any, so I'm going to move on. The next report, and I don't know if it looks that great. Maybe everybody can see that. This is just a summary of the Munis report. We put it into Google to present it, and as you can see here, the 226,000. That's our surplus for the year, and that ties into the final results. And we also have, based on this right now, we have about $181,000 still out in outstanding purchase orders that we're going to be paying off over the next several months. And then the third, I'm sorry, question, Mr. Votto?
Yeah, what was that amount again?
Which amount? The purchase order, the encumbrances?
Yeah.
The encumbrances is $181,000, $181,050.86.
And that'll be taken away from that 226.
That's already calculated.
Oh, I see it now. Never mind. Yeah. I see it in the other column. Okay.
All right. The next item, 4.2.3 is the 2% summary. And what I am suggesting on this item is that we transfer money. We've got a couple of accounts that are in the hole. The cameras and servers are in the hole. And we've got a lot of surplus in the lock boxes, and the turf study was in the hole $32. So just to reallocate ending balances to make those accounts to end at zero or have a positive number on. And there's a question from Ms. Passeretti.
Thank you, Mr. Roan. I wasn't fast enough to raise my hand on that previous
Sorry.
slide. No, that's okay. The 181,000 in encumbrances, does that represent expenses that have already been incurred and just haven't been invoiced yet? Or
Correct.
is that
haven't been invoiced, or or they may have been invoiced and we're going to pay them. The invoice may be getting ready to get processed, but yeah, those are all services that were provided during the before June 30.
Okay. It wasn't like we don't have those earmarked for future stuff. This is stuff that's already been allocated because we've already purchased them or whatever.
Services, correct. There could be something that was ordered that hadn't been delivered yet, but that money is essentially spent.
I'm just curious how much of it hasn't been delivered yet? Is there something significant that we're waiting on?
No, it's just that at some point we have to file a report with the state, so we kind of we freeze our numbers, and and then we take the snapshot and now we're going to close out. And when we close out, those will be all considered expended based on the budgetary, process that all the towns and Board of Eds use in Connecticut.
Okay,
And
thank
we
you.
will liquidate them, as they, I, off the top of my head, I believe everything has been delivered, but I just, there could be something that hasn't been delivered in that number.
Okay, I'm just, I guess my question stems from me thinking about, well, if there's something that hasn't been delivered yet, and is there something significant cost that we're going to be waiting a long time for, and or like, let's say something comes, we're like, oh, we really didn't want that after all, and that money goes back somehow. So, but it doesn't sound like that's the case.
No, and that's actually a pretty low number. We typically have a lot more outstanding and encumbrances at the end of the year.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Back to 4.2.3, which is our 2%. Really what I want to do is just shift around the money that, we have a large surplus in the lockbox. So I want to offset the camera servers that's in deficit and the small amount in the turf field study. And then once we're ready, to move the money from the general fund, then we'll have a larger discussion on, what should we be doing with that money. Okay. Ms. Reed?
So that money, when we have that discussion, that money we'll probably put towards some of these items that are on here, correct?
Excuse me?
Once we get that money over the 226 and the 2% fund, we'll be able to apply it to some of these items that are listed that we haven't purchased yet, correct?
No, I don't think we need to apply it to these items. So we've got budget money in here. So for just an example, the intercom system, we're going to work on that. We have $37,500 allocated, and we're going to get that done. This, I think, would be new types of projects that we would look at.
All right, thank you.
All right, the ones that are negative right now, like the if we go to the top and see the cameras and the servers, I'm just saying let's shift money from the key lock box, because we've done, we totally pivoted on that, did it a different way, and we came in way under budget on that. Is that clear?
Yeah, I think what I'm thinking of is that sheet, which we're probably going to get to, where we have those projects that we haven't put money towards yet. And
Okay, yeah, you're all right. The waterfall plan is kind of what you're thinking. Yeah, that.
Okay, thanks.
I think we got to Ms. Belizzi.
So Dr. Reed, I think to your question, what we'll do is at the next operations meeting, and even when we even talk after this, when we get to the waterfall plan, there'll be lots of items on there that we can identify that we may want to consider at the next operations meeting to moving over to this 2% and starting to fund. So I think that's kind of what you were what you were alluding to with this. So these are already funded. They're either underfunded or we have a surplus in some of these items because what we thought we were going to spend, it came in less. But yes, to your point, we will be adding items to this based on discussions that you all have and things that you identify.
Got it. Thanks for the clarification.
You're welcome.
Sorry, I apologize. I was just missing the question because I didn't have the document up. I apologize. Okay. Mr. Votto.
So do you think, Mrs. Belizzi, some of this money will go toward the waterfall plan? Is that what you just said? Parts or whatever. Will you come up with like a list of things that are, priorities for us?
Yes. So I think what we'll do is we'll talk a lot about what we added to the waterfall plan or what's going to be cleaned up on that waterfall plan. And then we'll have discussion. We'll make recommendations of things that we think at the next operation meeting that we'd like you to consider. But obviously, if there's other things you see on the waterfall plan, knowing that we've put on there the things that have already been completed just to show that they're done, And knowing that budget time is coming and we're going to all meet with the building administrators to have them identify things within their building, but things that are already on there that we feel like are really important and we need to fund will be up for discussion, and we'll make recommendations, but we'll take yours as well.
Okay, and then just I guess we kind of segue to the waterfall plan anyway. To just let you know what we did with it, or what I did with. No, actually, we did it. We hid the 23-24 column because that's pretty old. We left the 24-25 column to show what was completed or what wasn't completed in that column, and we're really looking at now 25-26. The next step is to meet with the different building administrators to see what they think need to go on the plan. But we did, I'll call it a cleanup on it, in that we got rid of some old stuff, and we just tagged things that are funded or in process, and now we need to really update it for new items. Any questions on the waterfall plan? Okay, I think I'm all set with, I believe, my 4 items.
You are. Moving on to the next agenda item, which is number 4.2. It's the cafeteria report. So I'm going to turn that over to Mr. Bondi.
Okay, good evening, hold on, where am I? Good evening, everybody. Let's see if I can get on camera here. Here we go. All right, so cafeteria operations for June and for the total year. Last June, we had a slight loss of $7,232. And for the year, we had a surplus of $51,889. That's document 4.2.1. We served 29,920 meals during the month, and we had $66,357 of that in reimbursement from those meals. On item 4.2.3, that's our summary of state reimbursement. For the month of June, we had $881.10. I do need to remind everybody that the state was paying for reduced price students to get their lunches for free last year, and breakfast. That is not the case this coming year. So reduced price students will need to pay for their own meals, because the state has not voted to extend that. 4.2.4 is our inventory activity for the month. 4.2.5 is our breakfast participation. We are at 25.6% for the elementary, 8.4% for the middle school, and 7.6% for the high school. Lunch participation for June was 52.5% at the elementary level, 53.2% for the middle school, and 25.1% for the high school. And then we have our balance sheet for the end of June. Any questions or comments?
Mr. Barone? I don't know who was first, Mr. Barone or Mr. Vada. Mr. Vada.
Okay. All right. I just want to go back, Jim, to what was the profit again?
$51,889.
I'm trying to find that on this form. I can't find it on the form.
On 4.2.1, that would be over to the right in the second column. I'm sorry. Second column from the right.
All right, I'm looking at. All right, I was looking at the
and
form.
under profit and loss.
Okay, thank you. Glad to hear we had a profit.
Yes.
Mr. Barone, I'm not sure if you're going to comment on, well, I know that Mr. Ross has a question as well, so.
Okay, we'll let him go. That's fine. I'll
right.
go.
Mr. Ross.
Okay, yeah, 25% participation in the high school. That sounds awfully low to me.
It is low because that was for June. And don't forget that there's a lot of testing where the students are not there. And a lot of students get out early in June. So we always have it's always going to be lower in June no matter what.
Thank you.
Mr. Barone, now you can go.
Thank you. I just wanted to point out that starting next ops meeting, we're going to go with that summary format for the operations, the 4.2.9, which is the sample we provided at the last ops meeting. And I believe what we had decided was that was going to be presented that the summary, and then the full documentation would go to the full board meeting. And I just wanted to, I guess, remind everyone that's what we discussed and confirm that's what we still want to do.
So we can discuss that in a second. Let me just so that we don't going out of order on our agenda. Are there any other questions on the individual items? You have the Munis report, and then you had the improvement opportunity log, which there's no change. Are there any other questions on any of those items? And then we can just kind of briefly touch on the new format. Okay, so the new format, that is the link in there. All of the documentation is still going to be linked. This is just a summary report so that it's a little easier to find. As you pointed out, Mr. Votto, sometimes the numbers aren't always easier to discern. And so this report just gives us a very quick snapshot of everything that's listed on there. So it'll have what our balance sheet is, what our balances are, and it'll have what our participation rates are for breakfast and lunch in each of the schools. And so going forward, this will be the report that is discussed, and all the backup for this report will also be attached. It's just we're not going to go into detail over those individual items.
But we will still get this sheet. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And if there's questions, we'll drill into them, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes.
and we're just, I think we would reorder it too, right? So that summary would be the first document, and then.
Yes, I would
we-
say that the summary would be the first one, and then,
Perfect.
okay. Are there any other questions for Mr. Bondi? All right, moving to number 4.3, maintenance and facilities project update. Mr. Deptula, this is all you.
Good evening. Do we want to start with the track first?
Oh, let's go there.
All right, so we got really good news, and it started this in June. I noticed that we were seeing some unusual wear, and I asked my groundskeepers to keep close track of that facility and look at it every week. A few weeks later, they came back to me and said, yep, they see unusual wear patterns, and right after that, we had some damage done to the track. So that was, I think that was reported to me July 8th, actually 7th. The 8th, they gave me pictures of the wear, and I sent them to the architect and the contractor. They came out the next day, looked at the issue, agreed that there was some kind of problem going on. Following that, they contacted ATT Sports, which is the company that installed the surface. They also agreed there was some kind of issue. Following that, AT&T brought in, this gets a little complicated, APT, which is the chemical company that makes the surface. That was the president of the corporation that came in. That took quite a few weeks to arrange that. He flew in from, I believe, the Carolinas, and he walked the track, and I approached him, and I didn't expect to hear what I heard, but he said, yeah, looks like there's a defect here. And they are going to cover resurfacing and repaving the track 100%. That being said, they have to work out some details yet. It's pretty complicated. You know, they're looking for a timeline to do it during the school year. That'd be great if that could happen, but I don't know if it can. Obviously, this year is going to be a problem because we're already into fall sports and we can't close the facility down We did let them know originally that we thought the window would be during the summer. We don't, we have spring things going down there, so the chances of getting the weather we need, obviously you can't do this during the winter months. It's pretty slim, but they are going to work with Sheehan Athletic Department to arrange a good time to get this done. They've assured me that they'll work around us, but if we can cooperate with them, that would be a plus. When this happened fairly quickly, when the architect brought everyone in, there was no doubt. And so right now we're trying to move forward with the repairs of the couple tears and the one defect. So that should happen sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks. It was relatively minor in nature, but if we were going to recoat it now, we could avoid having to do those repairs because they would just be, done with the new track coating. But that was an excellent piece of news. Hope that satisfies individuals that are asking about it. But yeah, it was definitely a step in the right direction. So I can move on.
So
to,
we have a couple questions. Well,
Okay.
I think there's a couple questions that are specific to this item, and so I'd rather just get those addressed. But I
Sure.
am happy to hear that it seems that the contractor and manufacturer are taking full accountability for this. So that's great news. I think Dr. Roscoe, you were first.
Thank you. So, Mr. DePtula, thank you so much for being on top of that and for coordinating all those site visits. And this is fantastic news. I assume that there's some type of written documentation that we're going to get from the companies, right? So it's not just all word of mouth, something so that we can hang our hat on, so to say, to guarantee that all of this is going to be done. You know where I'm going with this, right?
Yes, that's correct. We don't have that yet, and I don't expect to get it until it's on the schedule.
Okay, and just because I'm sure people are going to be curious, and I know you probably will, but when you do get it, will you just make sure that you can, update us at one of these, public reports, just to say that we've had the written documentation, just so we all know everything is buttoned up the way it should be?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Mr. Votto.
Mr. DePtula, what was the title of the person who came here? The APT person?
That he was the president of the company. That's the polymer company that actually makes the product.
Okay, that was my friend. Thank you. And the other one is, you said they're going to do some repairs on the cracks now.
There's a couple of tears, and there's a piece missing over by the Connex box in the northwest corner. Those will be fixed as soon as they can get to it.
All right, so that'll be a temporary fix until the actual project takes place.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Ross.
Yeah, thank you for that report. I just have a couple of questions. Excuse me. Can we get a list of the items that they've agreed to fix, and the items that now I noticed we've mentioned right along that there was a vehicle that did damage and that we'd have to repair that. Is that still that way? And has anything been done to assure that the water damage won't continue on the track?
There is no water damage, Ray. That wasn't what this track issue was about. So, I don't think I should be investigating that any further, unless you think that that's necessary. But
This was
had
as a
nothing-
result.
Yeah, this was a chemical mistake. This was some kind of chemical issue. The track was 100% set up long before there was any water on it.
All right. I would still like a list of the items that they're going to fix, and then
So they were gonna recoat the entire track, Ray. So it's one item.
So what, we're gonna end up with a new track with a new warranty.
Yes. I don't know if, we don't know if the warranty is gonna be changed. We'll continue with the 5-year warranty. Part of that is already up.
Why not? It's their problem.
It had a 5-year warranty, Ray. So if they
Right.
put a new track in, we'll get another 5 years out of it, but it's only gonna be warranted for 3, I believe.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Deptula on this particular item? If not, then we're going to move on to the rest of your update.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on.
All right. So we've got some pretty good things going on in the district. The tennis courts at Lyman Hall and Sheehan are almost complete. Lyman Hall's done. It looks great. Sheehan, the repairs are a little more extensive. BMAC's working on completing the second 2 now. Once they're complete, they'll be painted and lined. That was a step in the right direction. Lyman Hall softball fields renovations are coming along quite nicely. We have the new drainage, the concrete's poured for the dugouts. The dugouts aren't here yet, but it's starting to really take shape and look nice. My staff is renewing the clay shortly. It's already been ordered. So we're looking forward to completing that. I think everyone knows about 4 Fairfield Avenue, Adult Ed's Inn, and the Transition Academy will be moving in shortly. The boiler jobs, the Sheehan, Cook Hill, Stevens, they're going along very nicely. Sheehan High School is already online. Obviously, we needed that online for the start of school. The vendor did a real nice job and really kind of bent over backwards for us. It fired up the first boiler several days before school. They're working on the other 2 right now. We expect completion shortly, along with Cook Hill. Cook Hill is very close to starting, and Stevens is also starting. If you look at Stevens, you'll see it's 100% done. They're just finalizing a few issues. We've added cooling for the press boxes. Some people may ask, why are we doing this? Well, we're doing it because the equipment that's been added in the press boxes over the years is very heat sensitive. And during the summer, the equipment is burning up. We lost an inverter this year that ran the emergency lights at Lyman Hall. And I know they've had some technical issues with servers and equipment that's in there. So we're going to be adding some cooling, somewhat small, but it's meant to protect the equipment, and it needs to run pretty much every day during the summer. So we're looking forward to getting that done. And that's about it.
Mr. Deptula, I know that Mr. Ross has a question. Just very quickly, Mr. Deptula, on this project summary, can you please add the track just so we can track that, so we know like when it's going to be repaired or something like that, just so that we can just keep our eyes on it for the next one, for the next operations meeting, just so that's in our list of projects.
Yep, we'll do.
Thank you. Mr. Ross?
Yeah, I was over the other day to check out the softball field at Lyman Hall. I'm thrilled to see what you're doing to it. I walked down onto the track, and I noticed that long crack in the track, which is on the run out for the 50-yard run, is now breaking up in other places. Is that our responsibility?
It is. We're getting some estimates to repair that right now, but that crack really isn't the issue. There's some other areas like on the long jump where there's some delaminating. So we have the vendor coming in to give us a price for that.
Does that include that crack?
We're not including the crack right now because that really is not the issue. The issue is the surfaces that they actually run events on right now. That crack is probably going to be something that we're going to deal with when we recoat the entire facility. It is due now and it's in the budget. It's in the waterfall plan.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Deptula regarding this? Anything else that's on the plan? If not, then the last item on this agenda is to be adjourned. And so I'm going to go ahead and adjourn our meeting. We'll see everybody in 10 minutes. Bye.